Thank you everyone for being here. And well, today I'm going to tell you about some of the projects we were doing at the Montevideo Summer Camp. That's a kind of event from the Montevideo Tech Meetup we started 2 years ago. The idea of this event, it's in our summer, so your winter, so that's a great reason. So you can come to Montevideo to experience this new event. The idea is that we design this event with the idea to create meaningful connections, give back to the community, promote a collaborative culture, and of course, discover Uruguay in South America. Beautiful beaches and beautiful weather, like San Diego weather, something like that. So it's a very it's we really love from here. But talking about the summer project, the idea of the summer camp is to give back to the community while doing some projects in the summer camp itself, while promoting what we believe is the collaborative culture. So our idea is try to create value to the video community in 1 month, and also while learning and sharing knowledge. So that's the way we want to achieve those objectives. And this has started last year in DMAX. Maybe some of you were at DMAX and you saw this guy, JP from Qualabs, talking about the summer camp. And so we did a call for proposals saying, hey, what would you like for us to build in this summer camp? Received 6 proposals from the community. And the idea was to just a brief update of which were those proposals. The first one was to add CMCD into VHS.js, that is the library behind Video.js. Work to add some new features to the Common Media Library. Add content steering in Exoplayer. Also, the idea to create a CMAF-Ham library that we will talk about that later. Create an open source low latency HLS origin that we are missing that, and also to create a fast channel scaler to help people to create better or more easily fast channels, all some UI stuff. With this idea, what we did is just to create a form and listen to you to try to understand which things brings more value and what you're willing to work on. And from that, we got that the add features to the Common Media Library and create this CMAF-Ham project was something that was very, I don't know, people wanted to know that. So yeah, great, let's do that. And so, Common Media Library. This is a project, as you already heard, it's on SVTA. And I love to talking with Casey about this, and he says, hey, as community, we love open source players, but we have a very significant challenge. And is that the open source players frequently incorporate solutions one from one another, and okay, that complicates maintenance. Everything well, Nico? Yay, thank you. And so, this means, for example, look at this. This is a feature request in dash.js, hls.js, and Shackle Player saying, hey, add Common Media CMCD to the player. So like, okay, maybe here we have to build the same feature in different projects. And also it's complicated to fix bugs. For example, if you have, I don't know, maybe some ID3 stuff and you find a bug that is on hls.js, probably will be also in Shackle Player because they share the same code base. And so the idea is to improve and to leverage the open source players and any other web player by creating a Common Media Library, so the players can import the functions they need, for example, parsing ID3 or BTT or subtitles or any other kind of stuff. And so we picked this project, and just to cover up some of the results we got from just working on this in 1 month, with people getting into the video player world, we got to first create 3 new modules. The first one is we were able to merge all the ID3 stuff over there, merging the stuff from Shaka Player, Video.js, and other players in the Common Media Library. Also, we ended up creating also doing the same for merging the implementation of CEA 608 and 708, and that's a current PR we are still finishing. And also we started working on creating some common functions to leverage the implementation of content steering. Just a quick review, also with the ID3 implementation, we were able to refactor ID3 in hls.js, and that was merged some days ago, so great. And this is just a brief about the pull request that we are just talking with Casey to finish up and put it on the Common Media Library to then change implementations in different players, just to have the same source for these basic things in players. And so regarding just the add features to the Common Media Library, those were the most important things maybe we did. And we are really proud because, again, we started from scratch with people willing to work in this, with no player knowledge, so they had to learn a lot of stuff and check out what is ID3, what is CEA 608, 708, and create all the implementation for that. And so the second project we were working on was the CMAF-Ham proof of concept. So the idea, Alex and Belly came to us and said, hey, we are constantly switching content from HLS to Dash and vice versa. And what happened if we use the CMAF hypothetical model that is something that is explained on the CMAF spec, to create something that we can improve the way we are doing manifest manipulation and format conversion. For example, sometimes manifest manipulation, maybe you have done some, and probably, I don't know, maybe the easiest way to do change some parameter or whatever in a manifest, maybe it's just do some regex, for example. So what happened if we try to leverage that and create a library to programmatically do it with code, programmatically, and not with some regex or things like that, and to create some kind of tooling that can help us to improve that. So the CMAF hypothetical model, if you go to the spec of CMAF, of course that CMAF do a lot of work explaining how segments, chunks, headers of the containers, all the headers and all the stuff you need to create a CMAF compliant content. But also in the first chapter, they talk about the CMAF logical model, that it's basically, they try to define, for example, what it's a line switching set, switching sets, what it's a track in an abstract model, and not saying how to implement it in a manifest. In fact, the spec says we are not going to say how to implement a manifest. A manifest needs to point or to point to some resources in a logical way so you can get a segment. And so if you take a look of this model and try to say, okay, what is, for example, a presentation in that it's defined in the Dash in CMAF logical model, you will see that it's a period on the MPD of Dash, or it's also what's called a presentation when you check out the HLS. Or for example, a selection set, it's an adaptation set, or it's a rendition group in HLS. Or for example, again, a track, it's called representation in Dash, and it's called media playlist in HLS. So this way we can map what is defined in the logical model to at least these two formats to send content. So the idea of CMAF-Ham, again, is to create a library so we can, for example, convert an HLS to this model, describe this content in this model, and then we could or change it or and export it again to, for example, HLS, or export it to Dash. And so to do that, we had to do a lot of reference and read a lot regarding CMAF, this part of the spec. Also the Dash HLS interoperability spec from CTA. And of course, the Dash and HLS spec. In particular, it was my first time reading CMAF and my first time reading the interoperability spec, and it was, I know, it's a great job, and it deserves a coffee in the afternoon and reading some chapters that are very, 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 I don't know, I learned a lot of stuff. So yeah, that was great. So the first challenge we had was to create a scope for this, because it was like an idea, but again, HLS and Dash are very big, and there's a lot of use cases. So the idea was to try to say, okay, what we could achieve in a month. So we set up meetings, regular meetings, and you can see a picture over there. We got people from different companies like Dolby, Paramount, Max, Bitmovie, Wosa, Disney, and I don't know. And for me, it was very, very fun. Also, because of, again, learning from all these people that is in the industry from a lot of time, with a lot of experience, and it was great to together try to scope what we could achieve in just 1 month. And so we decided, or we talk about, the scope was just to define what is the ham model, only work with clear VOD content, so no live, no low latency or whatever, just try to achieve something with clear VOD content, just working manifest level, not going deep, like, okay, what if we could try to convert a non-CMAF content to CMAF or things like that. Also, we wanted to create playable content, of course, because if not, the library doesn't work. And also, we decided to publish that on the Common Media Library, because we said, okay, maybe this is the kind of tooling you will like to have in, like, I don't know, or use in different scenarios. And well, with this also, we define some use cases to cover, like convert LH, HLS, and Dash to this model that we had to define. Again, to provide some way to programmatically modify the content. Also, and very important, to validate the structure, because, for example, as you saw, in the model, we have to check, for example, if a switching set or doesn't have tracks from different type. For example, hey, a switching set cannot have an audio track and a video track, and because it's not something to switch between. And this kind of validation is something we should care about. And also, we have to provide some way to do that with the library, so you're going to export playable content. And of course, and again, export content to Dash and HLS. So, hey, Nico again. Everything working? Awesome. So let's go to the results of what we achieved. And to do that, I will try to guide us through an example. So the idea is we're going to convert Dash content to ham. Also, we're going to fix an issue in the track, in a track attribute. We're going to validate the presentation, export to Dash and HLS. This is going to be a presentation code, and then we're going to move to a real scenario code. So this is our content. This is a Dash, and as you can see, it has all the segments defined in the content, just 2 tracks. Great. So this first thing we are going to write using the library is that we are going to import the Common Media Library and the CMAF-Ham. And in particular, we're going to use the dash.to-ham function. Very simple. So you can see in the code, we are just using the, I don't know if you see my mouse, or, oh, I have a pointer. Does it work? Yes. Awesome. So here, you have just the function importing, and just this two previous fun over there is just to import the file that we have in a file system, and we are just exporting and print console log the presentation, because when we convert to ham, in fact, is to create a presentation and all the model. And this is the model, as you saw in the previous slide from the CMAF spec. This is, of course, this is simplified. We have a lot of attributes for all these types that we define. So you have a presentation that has selection sets, that can have switching set, that has tracks, and the tracks could be from video tracks, audio tracks, text tracks, and of course the track has segments. So when you convert to ham, in fact, you are creating this model, this presentation. And the console log that in the code will show you this. It's a JSON representation of that model. And you can see, for example, as I said, here the selection sets, and for example, here the video track. So great. Oh, I had that. I didn't remember that. So imagine this. You find that your content has some issue. For example, the language tag over there says undefined. Oh no, I have to fix this. And I know the content is in Spanish, and so I'm going to use the library to fix this. So what we are going to do is just import a new function that it's called get tracks from presentation. And as you can see, I will just use this function, put my presentation, and create and send to the function, another function, that would send all the tracks and say, hey, return me the tracks where the track language it's undefined. So this part here. And of course, after I have the array of all the tracks that has that issue, in this case, I will just change it to Spanish. And again, print the console log of the presentation. And as you can see, we will have the language fixed. Yay, everything great. Then this is just from the documentation from the library. We're going to validate the presentation. So the idea of this function is we are going to have just one function that it's called validate presentation, that you will send again a presentation, and that will return to you an object that will say the status, if the validation was okay. And if there was some error, it will say you an array of errors that it found. So the idea is that we do a cascade validation. So we are validate the presentation to the segments. So we are going to take care if the or each model itself will have its function to say, okay, this is a valid presentation. This is a valid segment list or whatever. Or this is a valid or for example, check that all the videos have the same length, for example, in a rendition switch. So that kind of validation is the idea you do when you execute this function. And some error examples could be like that. Hey, tracks with different duration, different track types in the switching set. And for the proof of concept, we just implemented some ideas and the chain, but we didn't end up to create a lot of validation, but it's something that we have to improve and say, oh, okay, let's check out what errors are common or what things we should take care, also getting deeper in the HLS spec, dash spec, and the HLS dash interoperability guide. So great. What we should do in the code is to call the validate presentation, and just that. If it is true, we are going to export. And if it's not true, if the status is false, you can also try to export it. It will try to do the best, but it's not going to. We are not forbidding users to try to export something if it's not valid, because maybe you want to implement your own validation or whatever, and you can do other stuff. Something important about the Common Media Library is we're trying to do very atomic functions or helpers or whatever. So you can try to use whatever you need. And for example, if you don't want to validate or you want to build your own way to export the content, you can do it and use the previews or the way we import content or the ham model or whatever. So that's also great. So now we are going to export to Dash. So what we are going to do here is just use the ham to Dash because we have the presentation. And one just tiny detail here is that the input here would be an array of presentations, because as we saw, a presentation in Dash is a period. So in Dash, you can have multiple periods. One note here is maybe also we have to check some rules regarding if the periods are compatible. We are not doing that, and that could be future work. And that will, and when you run this function, it returns a manifest object that is just the important thing about the manifest object is that it has a manifest attribute that is the string of the manifest itself, what you're going to send to the player. And just to know, this is a way we use to modulate what happens if you have, for HLS, for example, that you need a manifest and a playlist for the track. So we also have what we call auxiliary manifest to represent or to store the playlists. And also, you may think, that works in Dash. Well, Dash just added a way to have like interstitials. So maybe also this auxiliary manifest will be a way to save the interstitial version of Dash also. So maybe it's a good idea to also try to modulate that in Dash. And well, you have this manifest object, and we just print the manifest attribute. And here you can see the input, the initial dash that we put, and this is the output that the library created. Just to notice, just in this proof of concept, we are only exporting content in segment list mode. So if you want to use, for example, segment templates, you still can do it, and we plan to add that in the future. Oh, and take a look at this. Shows that what we solved, the issue with the audio tag that was undefined, the language. Now it says Spanish in the other version. So yeah, great. Now we're going to export to HLS. Very similar. We have to use the ham to HLS function. Again, it's an array of presentations, and returns again a manifest object that will have the auxiliary manifest, as I said before. In the code, I'm just doing for each, all just export into a file system the main manifest, and here just exporting all the playlists. And this is just a screenshot of what we got at the end. So you can see here in the main, we have the video track we had before, and here is referencing the audio track. Here you can see the video track, and I could add the other one, but it was too small, so I prefer just to put the video one. So great. The key takes away from this proof of concepts. First of all, remember that this is in the Common Media Library, and just a note over there that the PR right now is in progress, but it will be in the main branch in the next release, maybe next week or the other one. So great, but if you want to check it, over there is the link, but I would put a QR code after the finishing. And again, remember, very easy. You have two functions to import: HLS to ham and dash to ham. You can modify or whatever you want to do with the ham, the presentation object, the ham object. Then you can validate. It will be great to have some feedback about what we need to take care about. And again, you can export the content with the ham to HLS or ham to dash. So yeah, great. And now just a very quick demo also, a real demo, not a presentation demo. is that in the, let me change the screen. This is my computer here. Yay, great. So this is the Common Media Library. Something we added for the CMAF-Ham was a folder to add some samples, and we created this CMAF-Ham conversion sample. That it's a tiny project inside the Common Media Library, just to showcase the CMAF-Ham. The idea of this project is just to, you can add your own manifest in the, oh, sorry, over there, in this input folder. You can put some dash content or HLS content. The library already has some samples, and just install packages and run npm run dev. Well, sorry there, and it will, for each content in dash and HLS, it will create a folder in dist, and you will have, for example, let's check out the, for example, the dash sample one. This was the manifest in the input, and here you will have the same content after converted to ham, exported to dash again, exported to HLS, and also you can see an export JSON of the CMAF-Ham model here, and you can check and also an export of the validation, and you can do that for all the content. You can put just in there. The code is very, very simple over here. Just to give you a where is source? Sorry, input source here. It's very simple. So it's basic the same idea I showed you before, using same functions from the Common Media Library. The only, I have some utils to just list the content in the folders, and here is just a function to check if this content was dash or HLS, create the output if it doesn't exist, run the validations and save them, save the ham object, convert it to dash and save it, and just convert it to HLS, and just that. And that's the tiny function, but it's very fun to do this. And also, if you run here in the README, you can just type npm run serve, and it will start a web server. Oh, sorry, over there. It will start serving, create in your local host this folder, so you can try the exported content in any player. For example, use hls.js or dash.js to check the content. Here you can see when this is just the, well, sorry, again the server, and I'm listing here the dash sample one, and this is of course this is the output of the content. Here, I can just again load this content on dash.js, and it's working because it's just playing the main MPD. And here, same. I can put the sample one, but the HLS version. And everything is working. The library is doing what it should do. So, if you want, you can just download this. Again, it's very simple. PM install, and you can run the sample and check out if it's right. But we are going to have a lot of bugs. So, great. Regarding future work, again, This was just a proof of concept, what we achieved in just 1.5-ish month. So the idea is that we are going to work on export. As you remember, I said that in the scope, we said, okay, we are just going to work in manifest level. So we have to start working not just in manifest level to achieve other kind of conversions. So the idea is to try to work on exporting also segment templates in Dash, because nobody use segment list. We want to integrate different tools, again, to convert this non-CMAF content. We are not going to reinvent the wheel for this. We need to improve the validations. We just did some basic stuff, and we have a lot of stuff to do. And we also want to add some way to support other kind of metadata from the manifest. For example, what happens if your Dash content has some content steering information? You don't want to lose that information if you want to convert again to Dash, or for example, maybe you need to convert that also to the way to put some content steering information in a HLS manifest. So that's something also we need to take care about. And of course, live content and more stuff. Again, this was just VOD and working for that. Just one last thing. Also, one team working in that was participating in the summer camp. They created a UI that it's also public in the GitHub repo. I will send you the link in the QR. And it's very fun because it's a way also to, for example, put the content over there. And maybe it could be in the future, this could be a tool to debug content, for example, because you are going to take a look of all the parameters, and maybe you can modify your content over here, or remove the track, or just try to play one track, one audio, one video, or things like that, or run the validations from here, from the UI. So I think it's also a great idea to try to create some UI stuff using the library. So this was like a showcase of what we could be in the future using the CMAF-Ham. So yeah, that was great. So for us, was a great experience to do these summer projects in the summer camp. And the overall results were that we had 23 contributors from 7 organizations and working in 2 different projects. And that was great. It was very, very fun to, just to know new people, learn from others. And again, be honest, for example, for me saying, hey, I never work with CMAF, implementing anything with CMAF. So let's just get to the experience and learn. And that was very, very fun. And the achievements we got were like, well, we had 2 new modules. We have one is in progress, so doesn't count, but working on that. We did one pull request that it's already merged on hls.js from the Common Media Library, and we worked in fact 2 proof of concept, because the CMAF-Ham itself is a proof of concept, and the library, it was something that other team decided to work, and as a showcase of what we could achieve with the CMAF-Ham. And so that was also great. And again, I'm very, very grateful to everyone who has contributed to this. It was a great experience, and I hope, I don't know, maybe you next year can join us in person in Montevideo. I wish, or maybe just, again, it could be remote. All the CMAF-Ham work we did, and all the Common Media Library work we did also was online. So we set up meetings to talk about what we should do, the scope, design together the library, and again, it was very fun. So I hope you join us the next year. And very important for me, I would love to hear your feedback about this talk, about the Common Media Library, and also about the CMAF-Ham project. If you like the idea, what features would you like to see, or ideas would you like to implement, or whatever. And that's it. I hope you have enjoyed this. I really enjoyed that, and so I hope you too. Hey, Nico. Hello, everyone. Now I can see you.
Testing. Yes, we're good. All right. So, any questions for Nicola? Try to convey them through. So, I have one question. We'll get you started there with that. How close are you with the actual 608 708 PR getting that merged in? Is there still conversation on that? Because I think that's a pretty big lift to put through. So, just maybe speak on that for a minute.
Yeah. In fact, Casey is doing some code review. So if everything goes well, it will be added to the Common Media Library soon. And if not, we will have to change things. But right now it's on Casey hands. We have already merged the code base from different players. So with that, we are fine. Just waiting for code review. And then we have to, again, do the refactor of different players.
Right, right. All right, that's great. Any other questions? Yeah, we got one in the back. Let's see, how do we relay that? Let's try it. He should hear from there. Okay, we'll start here and we'll move back.
How close are you to being able to do that for live content?
Oh, sorry, it was difficult for me to understand with the noise, with the echo.
He said, how difficult was that, or how close are you to do that with live content?
I think not so far, because again, I think, as we know, for example, for Dash, we are needing to implement the template base probably to make it live also, because we are going to need that. Nobody does live content with Dash using segment list. That's the only implementation we have now. And I think from HLS we are closer, because it will just, recreate playlist again and again, without adding the end list. But again, not too close for live low latency, but for not low latency, some basic live in HLS, we are really, I think it's a low hanging fruit right now.
Yeah, and I think real quick on that note, so the other question was around, can you hear me pretty well, Nicola? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, the other question was around encryption or DRM, and I think, we're not talking about the segments here, we're talking about strings inside of manifest. So content protection periods, in Dash, or any kind of encryption data that's in the manifest would be easy to port over. Now, if there's something that has to be abstracted from a box or something like that, in the CMAF spec takes care of that stuff. So, all right. Because it's a ground up project that we have to move at a proper pace. It's like, why do you not hire executives before the POC is done, right? Yeah. This is a long-term project. Like, over the next decade, when I say long-term, all players that have been around for the last decade, right? Because every single player we're talking about here has been around since 2013, from flat out with not a lot of change. And so our concept was working on these players as we utilize them inside of Paramount is we know, I was part of the problem in 2013. We created these players in a small consortium, and we shared code. And a lot of the code was repeated, and small bugs were fixed in little pieces across the thing and had to be ported over, and we got tired of it. And so now that we utilize all three of these plus other libraries, and so do so many other people, we have the ties in the background. Let's, get into the SVTA and try to make this one player that holds the rest. So,
yeah, it's a very exciting project. I really love it.
And I realize this is scope creep, and you've talked about like CMAF takes care of the media, and this is looking at the manifests. You've got caption data, which is different between the two formats. So if you've got something that, would you incorporate this project to take something into kind of like EBU TTD as a superset, and then it can do the basically metadata conversion in that as well.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on caption conversion between HLS and Dash?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Well, to be honest, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it could be part of a proof of concept. Try to do some. Yep. No. To be honest, I think it could be difficult.
at the end of the day, though, the signals and descriptors in both manifest formats are enough to know that we have a track that's text within this language with this subset of HLS or Dash attributes or supplemental properties or anything else.
Yep.
And I think having someone focused on the entire spec, you have to look at, like you said, SMPTE and down, we're still supporting DFXP. We're doing EBTT, of course. Right, and I think a lot of the guys that are doing this project are focused on VTT at the end of the day, because we're talking JavaScript and web, which always boils down to this, no matter what format the captions are in or the content. So I think it's all possible. I think live and captions are.
What if we don't do any conversion? HLS support IMSC1, which is TTML. We don't need web VTT anymore, just saying.
Drop the mic. It is true. So Casey actually just went to the SMPTE IMSC consortium or working group at NAB, and that's really where we all want to go. There's a lot of problems with everything in the past for captions. I think we all know that, and IMSC does seem profitable to fix a lot of this stuff, especially rich type of formatted captions. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I love that it's complicated because we have jobs. Yay!
Like how he thinks. All right, I think we're at time now, so if there's any last questions, we can get them in, but otherwise we'll wrap up and take a break. All right, thank you so much, Nicola. We will see you soon, probably at Demuxed.
Woo, awesome. Right. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, hi, Nico.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the day.